Mothers are backed by the 2010 Equality Act, which states that it is against the law for mothers to be stopped from feeding her infant in public. I spoke to Acton Roberts. She is a master's student of curating and collections at the Chelsea College of Arts. She is a mother to Layla, who is now 10 months old. We discussed her experience of breastfeeding in public.
I've never actually been discriminated in public, and I don't know if that's because I'm fairly discreet, people don't know really what's going on, or because people are too shy or embarrassed. Sometimes I can get a little bit paranoid and think, oh, are those people over there kind of, you know, are they getting embarrassed, or are they kind of making faces at me? But having said that, it's at that level between when you know someone, like an acquaintance, who feel more awkward about situations. So I've had a few people in my class ask me about, you know, does it hurt? What's it like? And then I've had other people who are sort of quite sort of awkward about it. But it's that sense of like awkwardness, and there's a kind of a level of like taboo there, you know. Is it okay to be present in the room when someone, you know, when someone's breastfeeding? Maybe the breastfeeding woman, you know, wants privacy. And actually, I don't really need the privacy. So I think when you talk about discrimination, it doesn't come from a sort of a bad, you know, bad will perspective. It comes from an awkwardness and a social taboo and not knowing what to do in a situation. So I feel kind of a bit awkward when people think I need loads of privacy and they don't want to be around me. I feel, you know, more kind of like, oh, I'm making a nuisance of myself. I think if someone had directly came and said to me, you know, oh, that's disgusting, you don't want to, you know, I'd be reactionary to that, and I'd be like, well, actually, you know, you can't tell me that, and this is natural and it's necessary. I don't tell you you can't go to the toilet, because that's a, you know, a necessary, natural thing that you have to do, you know. I think I'd be more reactionary if people had that kind of prejudice. Or the thing that kind of irritates or hurts me a little bit is when people are uncomfortable and because of that taboo, when actually it needn't be there.
Yeah. Do you tend to avoid any spaces when breastfeeding in public?
I go to church, and in my church I wouldn't sit in the middle of the service and breastfeed, because there are a lot of kind of older gentlemen who don't come from a background where breastfeeding is open in public space, because also, you know, she might make a noise, she makes some funny sucking noises which are a bit embarrassing, which is fine when you're in a cafe and no one's paying attention, but in a quiet room where, you know, lots of people are paying attention to one thing, that's not, you know, that is inappropriate. So you try and find appropriate places to feed.
What is your approach to breastfeeding? Do you tend to be quite secretive when you're out in public, or have you got tricks that you use when you're out and about?
I mean, my personal view is that women should be able to breastfeed in public, but I also think there's no point riling and making someone angry or upset or disturbing someone for the sake of well, for no reason at all, because there are ways of being discreet. I have this large muslin which I carry around with me everywhere, and I use it just across my shoulders, just to sort of shield myself. I try and wear clothing that means I can not show too much of my body or skin. The only problem is with Layla, you know, as well, with a lot of babies, as they get older, they hear stuff, they're more curious, and they don't like being hidden. She just sort of wants to expose me at any moment possible, and it's not always possible to be as discreet as I would like. So that's, you know, placing myself in a cafe in a corner means I'm able to expose myself less to people. I do see people out and about. I was in Waterloo Station, I saw a mother breastfeeding. It made me smile, actually, that she was brave enough. And she didn't have her sort of all of herself out everywhere. It was very discreet, you couldn't really see any flesh, and, you know, it was just the baby sort of held close to the mother.
How would you describe the breastfeeding experience?
It's meant to be a natural process, you know, it happens all through nature, you know, all mammals, they all breastfeed and, you know, suckle or whatever. And so the expectation is that it will come a bit more naturally. And really, it gets better, and then it gets worse, and it gets better, and it gets worse again. But you just get through it. And when you look back and go, actually, in the first month, I was feeding my baby every 3 hours. Every 3 hours, and I managed to get through that. I managed to breastfeed every 3 hours. Actually, it's pretty kind of wonderful achievement.